Well, hello everyone, and thank you for coming to the Lead and Copper Informational Open House. I thought it would be helpful to share a PowerPoint on the lead and copper rules, which is why we are gathered here tonight. So I wanted to start off with these rules affect the Michigan Safe Drinking Water Act, which was enacted in 1976 to protect the public health. It was amended in 2018 to add more stringent testing for lead and copper. And the first set of tests were taken in July of 2019. It's important to note that there has been no change to our water supply, either how it's monitored or where it comes from, but the sampling process did change. And we do prepare a report every year on the quality of our water, and the latest report is available on our website. So EGLE, formerly the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, has designated new tiers for determining what homes to test for lead and copper. The new water for testing must come from buildings with lead service lines or lead pipes before sampling at buildings with other service line or plumbing materials. The lead service lines are the pipes that carry water from the city pipes in the street into your home, and they can be made out of plastic, copper, galvanized metal, or lead. This is a diagram of underneath the car is the water pipe that runs on the street, and then the line that runs into the house connects to the water meter, and from that run your lines to your faucets and toilets, etc. And it's the blue line, which is the service line that we're looking at today. Here in Huntington Woods, we have about 2,600 homes, and we have 40 homes that we believe had lead service lines. This information is from the original records when the homes were built and they were tapped into the water system, and those 40 homes have been contacted to advise them that we believe that their service lines are made of lead. The prior rule required 5 homes be tested every 2 years. The new rule requires 20 homes with lead service lines be tested annually. The testing protocol also changed, so that a first liter and a fifth liter of water are collected, and this gives us the opportunity to test the water that has been sitting in the service line, as well as the water that comes immediately out of the tap. Part of the new rules is an action level of 15 parts per billion was set for lead. This is a diagram that shows, used to be we just tested the first liter, and now we test the first liter and the fifth liter, and we test more often and we test more homes. So any test that exceeds 15 parts per billion for lead is considered over the action level. The action level will be dropping to 12 parts per billion in 2025. So of these initial tests that we did in July of this year, 2 homes of the 20 tested exceeded that action level. The remaining homes had levels that range from undetectable to 5.6 parts per billion. Now the action level is not a health-based standard, but it does trigger a call to action. And as part of the testing that we did, no homes exceeded the action level for copper, and it's also important that having homes that exceed that action level for lead is not considered a violation of the Safe Drinking Water Act. So for those 2 homes, a whole house filter has been installed by the Department of Public Works. When I put this PowerPoint together, we were going out for bids for replacement of those lead service lines, but we actually have identified a low bidder, and we're going to ask the City Commission to award a bid at their November 19th meeting for those lead service line replacements. The city is responsible for the cost of the replacement, and the rules require that a minimum of 7% of those lead service lines be replaced within 20 years. Staff is going to recommend to the City Commission that we do all 40 of them as soon as possible, and not take up to 20 years to do that. We're also required to inventory the entire city to determine where there are lead service lines to make sure that our records are accurate, and that study needs to be complete by 2025. Again, this is an example of the lead service line. There, occasionally, when lines were replaced, there was called a partial replacement, which is just part of the line was replaced, but as part of the new rules, the entire service line from the water main into the house needs to be replaced. So why do we care about lead? So no level of lead in the blood is safe. Lead is a potent, irreversible neurotoxin, and it can have lifelong, multi-generational impacts. Health effects occur from acute and chronic exposure. Biggest concern is young children and infants who absorb lead more than the average adult. And the health-affected children include impaired mental development, IQ deficits, shorter attention spans, and low birth weight. Lead can enter the drinking water when it comes into contact with pipes, solder, or fixtures that are in your home that contain lead. So homes with the lead service line have an increased risk of lead in the drinking water. So it's important to check to see if your water service line is lead. And again, if you're one of the 40 that we believe have lead according to our record, you have been contacted. A couple of things you can do to check it. You can go online and there are instructions for tests to show you how to identify whether or not your pipe is lead, galvanized metal, copper, or plastic. Or you can call the city and the Department of Public Works and make an appointment, and we will come out and take a look at your service line at no cost. There are some things to do to reduce lead exposure, because even if you don't have a lead service line, you could also still have it in your solder and in your faucet. Some of the things that are recommended are to run your water for 5 minutes to flush water with lead service lines until the water runs cold, or use a filter to reduce lead. Michigan Department of Health recommends any household with an infant, young child, or pregnant woman use a certified lead filter. They recommend using cold water for drinking, cooking, or preparing baby formula. Do not boil water, as boiling will not reduce the amount of lead in water, and it helps to check your faucet aerator to remove trapped debris. So again, we are encouraging our residents to call the Department of Public Works if you have any questions on the material of your water service line. We also are offering testing of the water for lead. There's a $23 fee, but if you call the Department of Public Works, they can make an appointment to come out, draw a test of the water, and check your service line for some peace of mind. We also encourage people to sign up for our e-newsletter on our website, because we will send out additional information as it becomes available on this subject and other important topics for the city. And if anybody has any additional questions who was unable to attend the open house tonight, please feel free to email me or to call me with questions. Now, are there any questions from anybody who is attending the open house tonight? All right, very good. Thank you, everyone, for attending.